Parents of Reddit, what are some secrets about you that your kids have no idea about? My nephew is 13 now, going on 14 in high school. His father was in jail for a year for drug possession trafficking, and his mother was a P-star and had a golden shower video online for a while. I really hope he doesn't stumble onto any of those vids. He's starting to get to that age. There is literally so much pee out there uploaded daily. I'm not saying it won't happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if the video never comes his way. I'm not a parent, but my parents grew weed, and I have a photo of myself standing in a weed garden. We had an incubator room. They were allegedly tomato plants. We actually did grow tomatoes, and the plants are surprisingly similar, to a point. At the time, I just dealt with the plants, had no idea. Yes, I remember my parents had a secret rosebush in the closet that I wasn't supposed to tell grandma about. The naivety of youth. Speaking as the child here, but I found out that my dad killed someone when he was young. My mom told me, blurted it out even though I was never supposed to know. Dad doesn't know that I know. I really want to ask him about it, but at the same time I don't. I tried googling and I found his prison number, but the records were expunged after he turned his life around. It doesn't scare me. I remember thinking at the time that I know he would do anything to protect us, even if that meant killing an attacker. It's just so weird because my dad is the most mellow, calm and wonderful person in the world. I love him so much, but I know when he was young he had a really rough life. I think about it a lot. I would say, don't ask. Killing can do a number on you. Most of my fellow Marines would balk at being asked it. It's just not something most really want to talk about. If you weren't supposed to know, just let it be. Curiosity, the cat and all that. This is a weird one. My dad died in 2013. It was an impressively depressing and bizarre situation. About a month afterwards, my older brother just casually blurts out that before my dad married my mum, he had a whole other family, a wife and 3 kids. And I never knew any of it. Neither did my younger brother. It's not like they were keeping it from us. I just never knew. I still have no idea who they are or where they are. Yay, he kept it from you. Be real, dude. I'm not my daughter's biological father. Her bio father has never been around. I did meet her till she was 3. As far as she knows, I'm dad. Eventually she'll learn her birthday and our wedding anniversary and connect the dots. Being a dad has made me the happiest man alive. Child here. We had a dog that we did not give the attention it deserved. So one day he followed our neighbor's dog into the road and got hit. Conveniently when no one was home. 2 years later at a new friend's house, I meet his dog, which looked just like my old dog. It even had on the exact same collar. What a coincidence. What the frick, why would they tell you it died a tragic death? They can't even imagine my past. I now live in a middle-class bubble with my husband and my children. But I grew up in a poverty-stricken area with very few opportunities. I lived on a traveller's community for some time in my late teens, then in squats in London during the early 90s. Commenting as the child here. Found out my mom used to work at a Playboy club when she was younger. There she met a hex angel who she dated for a few years. She got arrested for drug possession when she went to drop off C to a friend of his. Mom's BF sold drugs, obviously. And it all came to an end when he asked my mom to marry him. Mom said no. He shot himself in front of her. None of this my mom knows I know. Found out bits and pieces when my dad would blurt something out or I would eavesdrop as a kid. That's a pretty heavy secret. Found out a secret my parents were keeping from us. About 5 years ago I started figuring out why my parents would go out all the time at night and wouldn't come back till about 3 AM. They always told me that they were hanging out with friends and going to see late night shows in the city. I was about 18 at the time and didn't think much of it. Then one day my mom had a close friend come over to hang out, which I thought was weird because I've never seen this dude before. Turns out my parents were swingers and they'd been trying to hide it from us as long as they could, lol. They finally told us about it 2 years ago. Turns out my dad was gay and had been seeing another guy for a while. It was really hard for him to tell us cause I could see it in his eyes. He didn't want to disappoint us, but we didn't care. As long as they were happy, I didn't care what they did. Then my dad passed away a few months later due to a freaking ATV accident. My mom ended up marrying the guy she was seeing. He helped us out a bunch and is an alright guy. I'm a child. When I was 5, I remember visiting my dad in a place where there were other men. I was never sure what it was. My parents said it was a hospital, so that's what I grew up thinking. When I was 15, I found my dad's criminal record and it said he went to prison. That place they called hospital was really prison. Starting to read this, I thought it was going to be a reference to Butters catching his dad at a gay bathhouse. Not a dad yet, but will be in about 2 months. I plan on keeping the fact that I toured the US with a deathcore band as guitar player right after I got out of high school. Been out of the music game for years now though. I'll reveal it if he ever gets into music and starts to think I'm not cool enough to understand. Seems pretty clever. My children have no idea that we are poor. We rent an okay sized house for our family away from the poor, more dangerous part of town. We often are very low on food, but our kids think we haven't had time to get to the store yet. Our utilities, phone, etc. are shut off nearly every month, but we blame outages. We also do not completely hold back their childhood. We still do things and go places that are fun, often free or obtained through connections. We are facing eviction now, and if when we move, it will be harder to gloss over. But in the meantime, our children have almost no idea that we are very poor and scraping by day to day. You're doing the best you can. Many families are poor and the parents don't tighten their own belts at all, cause they're trash. Trying to give the kids the best life is great till you can get your ducks in a row. That I had been married and divorced before I met their mum. It's a part of my life they don't need to know just yet. I'll tell them when they are older and mature enough to understand. Speaking as the child, but my parents split up when I was about 6 months old. As I grew up, I'd question why. My dad always said there were money issues. My mom always said they weren't meant to be. Finally, when I was about 21, I overheard my aunt telling my girlfriend the truth. While my mom was a few months pregnant with me, my dad walked in on her and another guy freaking. They were engaged at this point. They decided they were going to try making it work after this incident for my sake. Obviously, that didn't last much longer. Neither of them know I know the truth. My mom is married to the guy she cheated on my dad with. My dad now has 3 sons with 3 different women and seemingly can't find happiness. I love my stepdad, so I'm not upset about anything, but I feel terrible for my dad. As a kid, I found out when I was about 20 that after my brother and sister were born, mum wanted another child but dad didn't because he got the son he wanted. So she went off the pill and didn't tell him. It actually explains a huge amount about our relationship. Brother is the favorite. Sister and I were largely ignored and could never do anything right. I'm the child in this one, though I'm 55. Father passed away 20 years ago. Mom is 83. Last year I went on ancestry.com and found out my dad was married twice before he married my mom. Have no idea if she knows and can't bring myself to ask. A secret that I know but my mom doesn't know I know. My parents got divorced when I was 3. I don't remember it very well other than them yelling at each other a lot. Many years later my father was upset about something and told me the reason they got a divorce was because my mother was cheating on him with my now stepdad who lived on the floor above them. That sucks. It doesn't really change my view of my mom because she was always very loving and is a great person. But it's an interesting view into her life that I've never talked about with her. I'm 40 now and everyone is pretty happy. I don't see any point in bringing it up. I'm the kid, but I recently asked my mom why my parents got divorced 11 years ago when I was 13. She said the final straw was when my dad was threatening her. He said that if she left him he would let our whole town community think it was her fault that their marriage was broken. He threatened buying a gun and said it was just so my brother could learn how to shoot a gun, but it was just to be threatening. She said she still doesn't know what he meant to do with that gun, but he never did end up buying it. They ended up splitting up and my dad lived in our basement while we sold the house. I'm 24 now and have a great relationship with both my mom and dad. For 11 years, I never asked. I always assumed it was just because they didn't get along well. Because they didn't. But I had no idea this was going on. It was a shock for me. I mean, I didn't know what to think. She told me my dad is diagnosed bipolar and this happened when he was at his worst and not medicated. I could never imagine him doing something like that. Still to this day, he's never been abusive towards me or my siblings. It was a huge secret. I'm pretty sure my dad visits prostitutes. I'm the only one who knows, and I have literally no idea what to do with the information, or how to process it. I know because I snooped where I shouldn't snoop. Curiosity killed the cat and all that. I personally would have gone with look not through the keyhole lest ye be vexed, but you do you. Not a parent, but a child who didn't know a secret of both my parents for 20 years. Found out from an offhand statement. My parents' marriage is their second one. That is to say, prior to getting married to each other, they had been married to different people and both divorced. I was surprised, but mostly impressed because they managed to keep it a secret for so long. I don't understand why anyone would keep this a secret. Both my parents are on their second marriage. I've known since I was like 10. I never even considered it to be something anyone should care about. I know I didn't. As the parent, mommy and daddy don't really take 30 minutes to get dressed in the morning with our door locked. I think they believe it's normal to take a long time because we do. But it's always the easiest excuse. My husband and I play Battlefield together for hours when my son goes to bed. We strictly limit his video game time these days as he was getting pretty addicted to gaming. It was affecting his grades at school, so we pulled the pin for a few months before allowing him an hour or two on the weekends. I agree wholeheartedly about introducing hobbies and activities into kids' lives, without bombarding them with too much. Since my son has started to play sport, he's met some quality friends. He's happier now and spends a lot more time doing things he enjoyed doing before his gaming addiction. Advice from a guy who gamed a lot as a kid: if you haven't gotten him into extracurricular activities like sports or martial arts, try doing that. Once I got into taekwondo, I started diversifying my interests a lot more outside of gaming. Helped my grades too. Abuse. Lots of it. Tons of drugs and fricking. Arrested. Nothing serious thankfully. Suicide attempts. The list goes on. Now for the most part I'm a contributing member of society. Scary, right? God, I hope I get to that contributing member of society part soon. I sometimes feel like I live in a bubble. Coming from the child point of view, my dad cheated on his girlfriend when he was a young adult and got the girl he cheated with pregnant, and that's how my half-sisters were born, and how my dad ended up in a nasty divorce that left him broke. Also, my grandpa cheated on his wife and that's why I have 2 grandmas on my dad's side. I have made the vow to break the chain of adultery in my family. Both our children were drunken birthday presents. One is born 9 months after his birthday, one 9 months after mine. Also, mum supported dad through university and earned the deposits for their home by working as a strippogram. My parents supposedly had a son before I was born. I don't know too many of the details, but he apparently died when he was around 1 year old. I found this out by my grandma slipping and mentioning something about it. To me, I don't need to ask them because I feel like asking them would bring up a lot of grief and heartbreak that just isn't necessary. I'm the child here. My mom is cheating on my dad. Has been for years. I just found out a few months ago, but I kept quiet. They act so normal. I really have no idea what to do. Do I tell my dad? My mom still treats me super nicely and I'm not sure I'm willing to stir up drama at all. For some perspective, I'm turning 17 this year. My father is the sole breadwinner of the family and my mom owns a dance studio. My father pays rent for it. I just don't want things to get messy if we ever split us as a family. Technically speaking, we're in a really good place right now. We all spend quite a bit time as family. It's selfish of me and I feel really freaking horrible for my dad, but I don't think I'm ready to tell him yet. I personally believe you should tell your dad. He deserves better. This comes with a lot of consequences. Good luck with whatever your decision is. I taped a corn cob to my head and fricked a stripper with it in college. Friends called it unicorn fricking. I hope they never find out. Commenting as the child here. I just learned my dad is trans. Got all the way to uni. Had no frickin' idea. My parents were divorced and seemed to hold back a lot. My dad would go out on weekends to drink wine with some work buddies. Turned out the divorce was related to my father being trans, and his going out was finally dressing as who she was with a few friends who knew. It is a lot to swallow. I still have no idea what to call my father, mother she, but my father has been there for everything and of course I accept them. There are plenty of resources that you can use in your situation. I think the best thing you can do right now is wait for them to come out to you and not be confrontational about it. Child here. So my mother was in car accident before I was born and I've known that my whole life because it affects her daily life. Short-term memory loss. And I knew she was engaged before my father. But what I didn't know was that she was 9 months pregnant when she got in the accident. Actually the child here. Apparently my father used to street race, do drugs, weed, not hardcore stuff, and a bunch of other things. Knowing this explains a lot of things about him. He has completely turned his life around, so I think that's one of the reasons he is so hard on me. Truly is a good guy though. My daughter tells me about Pokemon, their names, etc. I do the typical "oh, that's neat, honey." She has no idea how much of a Pokemon master I am. Okay, this seems like a missed opportunity. He is 2. He has no idea what a middle name is. His is Thor. He will either love the name Thor or hate it. Degrees. I'm the kid, but was raised an only child until I was almost 20. Then my mom sat me down to tell me I had an older sister. Mom had gotten pregnant in high school with her then crappy boyfriend. Gave my sis up for adoption. The craziest part is she lived 30 minutes away from us my whole life. My sis and I are now very best friends. But frick, it did a number on me mentally when I first found out. My parents bought my sister and I 2 cats shortly before my sister left for summer camp. While she was there, one of the cats was killed by our dog, so we just replaced it with an identical cat. 5 years later she still has never figured it out. My child doesn't know that, by and large, their mother left us and ran off to a new life because she did not want to be a mother. More serious answer than the one from a few minutes ago. It's that my paternity is not exactly known. I came across letters from both mother and father to a doctor dated several years before I was born about how they could not have children due to a childhood accident my dad had, requesting artificial assistance from a clinic in a nearby big city. The second set of letters mentioned the possibility of a procedure that would undo dad's sterility. 0 sperm count at the time. So either they had the procedure done and it worked, a miracle happened, or biological dad is a donor who will remain forever unknown. I'm actually waiting on results of ancestry DNA to get back, so this could be interesting once they come in. I found the letter 16 years ago and told no one, and have no plans to tell our little guy about it until some years after dad is gone. Nothing really. My boys are 12 and 14. And we have had some very frank discussions at home. We want the kids to be able to tell us anything. The least we can do is show them the same respect and not hide things from them. Good for you. My parents told my siblings and I only the wholesome stories of their youth, sprinkling in harmless misdeeds to make it look believable. We were smart enough to get a slightly less censored picture from our grandparents. Now we know they hide things from us and likewise. Not a parent, but I found out my parents got married in prison. My dad was in jail for stealing and even had to hide from police in foreign countries when I was young. The thing is, I don't remember him leaving, and now he's just the best person ever. He's changed his life and now works hard to keep his wife and 3 children happy. I'm really grateful for that and would never think he could do something illegal, but when I was 15 my mom showed me an old cutout from a local newspaper. The article was about marriage in prison, and that's when I found out that my dad isn't all sunshine and rainbows. That occasionally, beneath the facades of normal, middle-class parents who volunteer with Cub Scouts and coach soccer, we are also secretly wild people. They know us as the shirt and tie, minivan driving, boo-boo fixing people who do laundry and mulch the garden and make them put helmets on when they ride bikes. They don't know us as ecstasy-soaked hedonists, having euphoric orgies and exploring the psychedelic expanses of the inner and outer universes. Neither do any of the people in our normal lives. That's the fascinating thing about adulthood for reasonable people who color outside the lines. Being functional in most ways requires a certain camouflaging of yourself, which means that you never know who is into what. I've melted my mind out in profound consciousness-bending adventures on a Saturday night with doctors, lawyers, teachers, engineers, company presidents, nurses, etc. And we've all put our normal person masks back on for Monday morning. I didn't know that my dad had children from his previous marriage until I was 13 years old. I apparently have 2 brothers I have never met. They are very religious and did not want any contact with my dad, or me and my sister, when he remarried. She will find out eventually, but my 6-year-old has no idea that the reason we left our country was because her father was so unbelievably violent and I feared for both our lives living in the same country as him. I'm the child here. My dad has no idea that I know that my stepmom is the one he cheated on my mom with. I remember a lot from when I was 4, and I remember an instance where my mom and dad were yelling at each other over him getting someone pregnant. Being little, I had no idea what that meant. Didn't see my dad after that for another 4 years. He's married, has a 4-year-old daughter with his wife. Took me another few years to fully understand it all and connect the dots. My kids have no idea that me and my girlfriend have another girlfriend. They know her as our friend who comes by occasionally. My stepdad used to be an alcoholic. He goes to work meetings like once a week. At least that is what my biological brother and I are supposed to think. Our stepsister told me that they're actually AA meetings that he's like a leader for or something. My brother still has no idea. Son here, and not really a secret anymore, but it was. I have an older sister and 2 younger brothers, and my grandma used to watch us after school and during summer while my mom and dad were busy. One day I notice a picture of a man on her mantle and ask who that is. Grandma is confused. I am also now confused by her confusion. She tells me, "That's your father," which absolutely couldn't be true because he didn't look like my dad. Turns out, me and my sister's dad died when I was 1 and she 3, and my dad was actually my brother's dad. In those few minutes I lost a dad, gained a new one, then lost that one too. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.